Welcome to a Sentinel review of The Last of Us from HBO. Warning, this review will have many spoilers. So here it is, the long-awaited HBO series adaptation of The Last of Us, a video game that is very acclaimed by critics and gamers. The show eerily begins with an exposition by a Dr. Newman who predicted the world will be threatened by mutated fungal infection that can take over hosts, even humans. So The Last of Us is not your typical zombie invasion type of show. Of course, there are many skeptics of Dr. Newman, but as time moves on, Dr. Newman is proven correct of his findings. Episode 1 introduces the Last of Us universe, beginning with the immediate family of Joel, who is brilliantly played by Pedro Pascal. Other important characters introduced are Sarah, who is the teenage daughter of Joel, and Tommy, who is the younger brother of Joel. Since this is an adaptation of the video game series, it is expected that the HBO series of The Last of Us will have numerous differences and similarities of the show. This is pretty much similar to other adaptations like the Game of Thrones HBO series and its original source, which are the books. Now, the score is by Gustavo Santaolalla. He is an award-winning composer. His score is used in both the game and the series, and it perfectly suits them both. His music is instantly recognizable and sets the tone perfectly. In this episode, we see more of Sarah and her interactions with her neighbors, and this is not present in the game. Sarah seems to be a sweet and loving daughter and even spends time caring for her neighbors. Of course, disaster strikes as the crisis begins taking over the city and then the entire nation at an insane rapid pace. Joel rushes back to his home as soon as he can when the crisis is getting out of control. Together with his brother Tommy, they plan to move to a safer place, but there is widespread panic and chaos ensues. There are explosions, plane crashes, and many gunshots. I was floored to see how well these events are shown in the series. It seems they spent a lot to show the convincing effects, and it made the show a whole lot better. Then we get to the most important scene of this episode, when Joel was pleading to a military personnel that he and his daughter are not infected. The military soldier radios for help and was ordered to shoot them down. Bullets were fired, hitting both Joel and Sarah. Now this scene was outstandingly shot, perfectly showing the tense drama and action, but in live action form. The scene was lifted from the game, but with powerful performances. Joel was pleading for his life, then Tommy, out of nowhere, shot the soldier, saving Joel. Sarah, though, was fatally shot, and Joel and Tommy helplessly and painfully watch her die. When I first saw Tommy, I thought the actor was good for comic relief. He looks completely different than the Tommy in the game. He is the underachieving brother of Joel, and he was living in Joel's house. But of course, when Sarah's death scene came, he totally worked well with the other actors. Then the show moves forward 20 years. Society has changed a lot, with Joel now in a quarantine zone managed by FEDRA, or the Federal Disaster Response Agency. It is important to note that there are various factions in this universe. Joel is now with a woman named Tess, and they form a team of smugglers. In one disturbing scene, a young female child was seen entering the quarantine zone. She was asked some questions, and then her dead body was later discarded by Joel, who seems totally dead inside while he was disposing the kid's body. A chilling and harrowing event indeed. Tess looks differently from the Tess in the game, and I did not mind it. I was looking at the character's ability to act and blend well with Joel and the scene. Again, I did not mind it at all. Joel's next mission was supposed to locate Tommy, as weeks have passed since Joel has heard from him. Joel needs a car battery to travel to Wyoming from Boston, Massachusetts. Now Tess and Joel got scammed out of the battery, as the battery was not working at all and was later resold to the Fireflies, a faction united against the Fedra. One of the leaders of the Fireflies is Marlene, who looks and sounds very much like the character in the game. It is because the voice actress in the game is the actual actress in the HBO series. With the failed battery trade, Marlene begs Joel to escort a young girl named Veronica, or should I say, Ellie. Ellie is played by Bella Ramsey, and both she and Pedro Pascal played supporting characters in Game of Thrones. To me, I had a harder time adjusting to the look of Ellie, as in my mind, Ellie reminded me of Ellen Page during her Juno role. The Last of Us game was released in 2013, and I presume Ellie's look might have been influenced by Ellen Page, who was in a number of Hollywood films during that time. Of course, Bella Page is a competent actress, and I should see how Bella Ramsey performs and not ruin the experience for myself. Ellie is a loud, feisty, and smart character. Most importantly, the show reveals that Ellie is immune from any infection and could be the key to humanity's survival. In the final scene, Joel and Tess agrees to escort Ellie after they were promised huge rewards for their help. The quarantine zone was already on high alert, and Joel had the misfortune of seeing the soldier who previously warned him to lay low while the alert was on. Joel tried to bribe the soldier to no avail, and the soldier used a device to see if the trio was infected, and soon discovered Ellie is indeed infected. The soldier was ready to shoot Ellie, then Joel came to the rescue of Ellie, as this event triggered Joel's recollection of his daughter. This is the first time we see Joel show ruthless action, and we now know that his trauma of losing his daughter is still ever present. My final thoughts for this series are, I am glad that this show more than lived up to expectations, similar to the House of Dragons. I expect more high caliber episodes in the future, and it will be a wild ride. Even to those who never played the game, the show is of high quality with good performances and excellent storytelling. Pedro Pascal and Bella Ramsey are the main characters of this series, and I expect them to carry the show well. I'm glad the show has its own twists and surprises, as I already played and finished the game before. HBO has another hit in their streaming service.